Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm glad to have you here. So we're about halfway through the week. Figured I'd give you another encouragement video for the second half of the week. So this video is going to be called Under Maintenance. It's going to be going over a message on shortcuts when it comes to faith. You know, even though you're saved, you can still choose an easier road. Like, life is always going to be a decision on whether something is easier or harder. And we have to be able to identify the two roads that are mentioned in Matthew, the wide gate and the narrow gate, and which kind of things connect the two dots. So the verse I want to read to us today is Matthew 23:25 through 29. And this is what it says here. It says, "You blind guides, you strain out a gnat but swallow a camel. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside also will be clean. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the insides are full of the bones of the dead and everything unclean. In the same way, on the outside you appear to people as righteous, but on the inside you are full of hypocrisy and wickedness. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You build tombs for the prophets and decorate the graves of the righteous." So we see here the verse, and I want to give an analogy to go with this verse. So we see that Jesus is talking about making the outside look pretty. Right? He's talking about making the outside beautiful while your inside still has sin in it. So I wanted to give an analogy of two cars, right? Of two different car shops. Three, technically. But we see the first guy, he goes in, right? And he goes up to the counter. He tells the guy he's found a problem with his car. So the guy says, "Well, what's wrong with it?" He says, "Almost all the lights on the dashboard came on." And the guy looks at him and says, "You're better off fixing it yourself, making it look good and getting the most out of it while you can." So the man goes off, he fixes the car, he gets the result that he wants. He never comes back to the shop. The second guy, he comes to a shop called Satan's Mechanics. He goes up to the window, he says, "Hey, can I get some help out here? My car is having some issues." So a few minutes later, a guy comes out, the best looking guy he's ever seen. And he said, "What appears to be the problem?" And the man looks at Satan and he says, "Well, all the lights on my dashboard came on." So the devil looks at him and he tells the man, "You're better off getting a false inspection sticker. You pay me a little bit extra from your soul and I will take care of this problem for you. I will take care of the problem of your sin." So he looks at the car, he slaps the fake inspection sticker on it. He gets less than 40 miles, and the same issue just resurfaces. The man gets very upset, but doesn't dare go back to the shop. The third man, he finds a shop, and the mechanic tells him that it's going to take a long time to fix all the repairs and everything. He asks the man, "How much time do you have?" And the man looks at him and says, "I have all the time in the world. Please just take care of the car, and I'll pay you extra for all the labor and everything." So the point of the story is we see three different shops, all indicating something different worldly. The first man, or the first mechanic, who told the guy he's better off doing it himself, kind of worked just like the Pharisees, right? We want to do all the work ourselves and, have all these good deeds and have everybody think that the car is good on the outside. Meanwhile, the frame and the body inside of us is rotting away. We see this in James 2:17, which states that it is not by works and that faith without works is dead. Meaning that, it's not just works that get you into heaven. In fact, quite the opposite. The inside of the car and outside of the car have to be clean. And this is what Jesus was going over in Matthew 23:25 through 29. He was telling the Pharisees that their problem was that they cleaned the outside of the cup without actually cleaning the inside first. And that if the heart had been cleaned and filtered out, then the outside appearance would have followed. And people would have been able to see the face. However, they were so self-righteous that they never even understood the point. The second shop, Satan's Mechanics, represents, us not really understanding the problem with the car and being led astray by the devil. false religions, other issues that lead to a false inspection sticker. And we see the man take the shortcut. It's quicker to getting on the road. He hands out more money. The problem disappears, and the car still works. However, the outside looks crappy, and the inside of the car looks crappy too. Later down the road, it leads to destruction, and that man dies. We see the third shop, and the reason I want to mention this third shop is very simple. It represents, not taking a shortcut and allowing God to take the things that are bad in our life and to completely remove them to make us look perfect, right? To give us that true inspection sticker. So the true inspection sticker represents bowing the knee to Jesus and taking the time to let God inspect your life and remove the parts that are hurting you. Whereas the false inspection sticker represents a failure to accept Christ's conditions and terms to enter his kingdom and a life of comfortability to sin. Meaning you very well may have said the words, "I believe in Jesus," but you also took the parts that you wanted and kept them to yourself. Instead of surrendering everything to him, you keep on holding on to that sin that ends up leading to all the lights on your dashboard still remaining on 40 miles later. I had a talk with somebody the other day, a very interesting conversation. He said he was an ex-Christian. I asked him, I said, "What is an ex-Christian?" And he said, "It's somebody who just doesn't want to walk in faith anymore and doesn't want anything to do with Jesus anymore." I told him, I looked at him, I said, "There is no such thing as an ex-Christian. Please rephrase your statement." He says, "What do you mean there's no such thing?" I said, "The Bible says Jesus will lose none that the Father has given him." Meaning that it's either you believe and are saved and you still walk that path, or you never believe and your soul was never saved. Meaning you're still a sinner and you're still going to go to hell. And so I told him this. He seemed completely dumbfounded, but the truth of the matter is he has a false inspection sticker on his soul. Meaning, he didn't like what Christianity had to offer, but at first he was somewhat interested in the proposal of how he could make others think that he was a good person. And that's really not what we're called to do here. And the reason the title is called Under Maintenance is sanctification's a process. Once you bow that knee and you sign that bill and you agree to pay that maintenance person, it's up to you for those parts to be installed on your car through what you can give the other person. We see this a lot, right? People reference treasure in heaven. That's kind of how it works, is through the works you do for the Spirit to other people. And we see that anything that we do with a self-righteous attitude or out of a worldly view will get burned away. And so what I wanted to go over today is, are you willing to take the time to let Christ look into your life and pull out the things that he doesn't like? Are you willing for him to fix those lights on the dashboard? Or are you going to get angry at him and accept Satan's false inspection sticker every time? There's always an easy and a hard way. The narrow gate is always the easy way, or the wide gate is always the easy way, and the narrow gate is always the hardest way. Are you willing to replace the parts and take the time to make sure that the car is safe? In this case, the car being your soul. Are you willing to maintain it? Are you willing to keep it pristine and holy for God? And are you going to let him work on it? Or are you going to stay in the world and choose that you're more comfortable living here than anywhere else?